it finally happened. Oda remembered that Elbaf is Usopp's arc. He saved the best fight for last because Usopp just used his strongest attack point blank on Imu, killing him instantly.
This nigga swore he died. Hey, Brody, hold on.
Oh shit.
Okay, jokes aside, this moment for Usopp staring Imu and his big haki right in the face and being able to speak straight facts was already foreshadowed by Oda, and this moment has just provided more evidence for Usopp's big upgrade by the end of this arc. It's not just Usopp though, because in this chapter, Oda also exposed the biggest secret about Chopper's own devil fruit, which might actually be a god fruit of the forest god from the second world. As just like Loki's own legendary Nidhogg god fruit, Chopper's fruit also counters Imu's powers. So while Luffy and Loki fight the devil, Chopper can go healing all the Domi Reversi giants with a single touch. Before that though, if you're still using one of those default browsers, you're basically moving through the internet like an unk. So let me tell you about our sponsor Opera GX, which actually feels like a browser built for anime fans and gamers. First, it comes with a built-in ad blocker and free VPN. So if pop-ups are attacking your screen, or you don't want the IRL Celestials knowing you support Deadbeat Dragon, then Opera GX is the browser for you. The VPN is also great if some anime or content you want to watch is region locked, because you can switch between Asia, America, and Europe without needing extra software. Then there is GX mods, which is probably my favorite feature because you can customize the browser with animated wallpapers, background music, keyboard sounds, tab sounds, custom icons, even different UI vibes. You can change it like it's your own ship while traversing the high seas. If you know, you know. Switching to Opera is also super easy with their quick import tool, as you can easily bring over your bookmarks, browsing history, cookies, and even keep using your Chrome extension. So there's basically no reason for you to not switch using my link in the description or pinned comments to download Opera GX today. Back in West Village, the kids are being protected by the giant warrior pirates against Domi Reversi victims. While the parents try to shield the children's eyes from the brutality, the warriors themselves find it cruel to have to kill their friends and brothers to save them. Still, there's no time to think as the giant warriors get swarmed with attacks, which are easily blocked by Dory. Remember guys, these giants look strong, but Oimo and Kashi were pre-Gears Luffy victims. Even with Imu's boost, they aren't as strong as they think. The tough part is actually you yourself being turned to Imu's side. So during battle, you must be careful to not be surrounded by two Domi Reversied people. As it seems, Imu's powers function like the game Othello or Reversi. Taking over enemy pieces is called outflanking. You must place your disc on the board so that it traps one or more of your opponent's discs in a straight line between your new piece and another one of your pieces already on the board. This is how much of the Davy clan members in God Valley were turned. Here in Elbaf, it was just Dory and Broggy who directly got turned. The rest of the giant warriors were a result of being outflanked. I guess that's why Imu had to turn both of them. However, Dory and Broggy used their full power Ikoku sovereignty attack. Same with Haruden, who uses Gungnir. And Zoro channels the red ogre himself, Yujiro Hanma, to defeat the Domi Reverses. These guys did not even think a second before striking their own buddies. Yarul even questions that they seemed giddy doing these attacks. But back at Chopper's group, he has to convince Kashi to fight his friends, as it is a very tough ask for him. This was the same guy who became a slave for the Marines, waiting for his captain's well-being for over 50 years at Enies lobby. So even with two giants about to outflank him, Kashi doesn't want to make a move. So Chopper has no choice but to chomp on a rumble ball and smack Rhodes in the face. Now, this wasn't a lethal strike, mind you. It was just to get the giant out of the way. However, it ends up reverting him back to his normal self. The giant even says that he didn't feel a thing until he is engulfed by a big sun, as if purifying the Domi Reversi out of him. Everyone is utterly shocked, even Gaban, who is more knowledgeable about Imu's ability. However, if you have the notification bell on, this shouldn't be surprising at all, because Chopper's fruit might actually be the Hito no Mi model forest god. Because Chopper's arc paints him as a guardian of the winter forest in spirit. He was a lonely beast on the mountain who later uses his knowledge of flora and medicine to heal others. In fact, his pivotal act on Drum Island was using a rare mushroom, albeit a poisonous one, he found in the wild in an attempt to cure Hirula. This connection to forest flora as medicine foreshadows Chopper's life mission to find a panacea. Just like how Luffy, or a carnivore zone eater, starts to embody the fruit spirit, like with laughter or becoming more aggressive or violent, what if Chopper's dream of a cure-all is influenced by the will of the forest god? There had been a rumor of a mushroom that could cure all diseases located in Drum Kingdom, and if we look at Chopper's fruit model, it looks a lot like a mushroom. The only difference being that perhaps if you eat this fruit, you don't heal yourself, but gain the ability to heal all diseases once awakened, or at least a disease of the soul, like the Domi Reversi. With its powers being a direct counter to Imu, it would also give us another reason for why Blackbeard was in Drum Kingdom before the Straw Hats showed up there. He knew that this mushroom-looking fruit could help him defeat the world or Imu's devil fruit powers. Even in the Harley text, the forest god tamed demons or purified them back to their normal states. Now, I personally believe that this portion of the forest god in the Harley text is referring to the Eve tree and how devil fruits were created, so I came up with another way for Chopper without being a forest god to counter Imu. In a battle between gods, or the side of Nika, and the demons, or the side of Imu, black versus white, Chopper, who ate the human fruit, represents the humanity in the middle. His touch in Monster Point maybe works as a reset button for a person whose will was overwritten by demonic transformation. That is kind of the role of a doctor, as they strive to turn your body back to normal. But in Chopper's case, he is turning your soul back to normal. Furthermore, if we look at what happens as Chopper hits the giant, there is a shadow like the ones Moria could create in Thriller Bark getting slapped off of him. Then the giant is engulfed by a sun-like flame circle, which is reminiscent of the mural where Imu is holding a similar power in his hands. Maybe Chopper's hit does what Salt did to Moria's shadows. It's creating a shock in their system to turn your will back to normal. Finally, we have actually seen Chopper's Monster Point in Elbaf already. In fact, it was one of the first creatures we witnessed, Rhodo wearing that deer-like mask, which hints that the ancient culture of Elbaf already knows about Chopper's fruit or creature. Right now, Chopper might have not awakened fully, as he still has to rely on rumble balls forcing his new state. Your will and your zone fruit's will must converge for a natural transformation. That's why he isn't able to use the full potential of his god fruit yet. While Loki, or Nidhogg, is the god of destruction in Elbaf, Chopper's of the forest god might be the god of life or restoration. Moving on, it's time for our weekly news about the Fraud Knight. And with the Dow dropping to near 45,000 right now, these guys guys are beyond cooked. Because remember, if the Tao is over 50,000, the God's Knights win. If it's not, it's GG. And what's happening to Saint Q is worse than death. Faivanji ripped this guy's head off and is sitting on his body while Jinbei is just holding onto the head. Remember, Gaban said that if you cause absolute pain to the knights, their regeneration gets slowed immensely. Still, this guy won't stop being racist against Jinbei. All this nonsense yapping, Frankie thinks that they should just box him up. But Sanji, being one of the big brain Straw Hat, can't believe that these guys are the knights that are tasked with guarding the most important place in the whole world, Marie Joie. If the new 6th strongest Straw Hat, like Sanji, could one-shot this dude so easily, how are the knights supposed to defend against the strongest in the world? Monkey Deadbeat Dragon, who is attacking Marie Joie right now. But Frankie makes a good point. The Straw Hats have gotten way too strong for them, as they are a Yonko crew now, one of the 4 strongest pirate crews. However, Killingam mentions that they shouldn't underestimate the God's Knights just yet, hinting they actually haven't shown their full power yet. It kinda reminds me of when Yuha in Bleach used Auschwallen to instantly turn the tides of the battle against Division Zero. Maybe Imu is hiding a similar boost for the God's Knights because things are going way too well for the Straw Hats. In fact, Nami even has time to yell and scold Luffy to keep his pet dragon under control as Loki's breath keeps burning Elbaf drown. If you have to destroy everything to stop the bad guys, what's even the point? Luffy genuinely is saddened after getting scolded with Ragnar supporting him. Bro is like, you see what I gotta deal with every day with Loki? But Loki does not care. He is like, I'm gonna crush all the threats. I don't care about this stupid ass tree, as he fires a big lightning breath against Luffy. Like, bro thinks Luffy is the threat. But of course, it's lightning. It does 0 damage to our boy because thunder can't harm lightning, which shocks Loki. Before things escalate though, both of their attention moves towards Usopp and Brook, who are face to face against Imu. Brook asks his crewmate to flee the scene as he has his own reasons to face Gunko, because remember guys, Brook used to be the knight tasked with guarding Gunko over 60 years ago before he became a pirate after she got kidnapped by Imu and their nation likely fell. But Usopp has had it. He is pissed off that Oda keeps doing him dirty in these chapters. No more reaction Andy right now, Usopp. He is taking action. True warriors do not run. He is burning with fury and won't back down. He stares straight ahead at Imu, one of the strongest in the entire world, and calls him a coward for not fighting fair and square to take Elbaf. Using underhanded schemes is shameful. A true warrior puts their lives on the line to fight like warriors of Elbaf. However, Imu just says that a dominant ruler never sullies their own hands, and Usopp responds with his skull bomb grass. Sadly for him, it completely whiffs. Instead, the explosion ends up hurting Brook and Usopp while Gunko just heals back up. However, this moment of Usopp standing up against Imu is a final character defining moment before the next power up, and with that he will finally become a warrior fueled by his true strength of yapping. Let me explain. The biggest misunderstanding about Usopp is that people think he is weak just because he is scared, loud, and constantly exaggerating stuff. But what if those exaggerations were never just jokes? What if Oda has been using comedy as a camouflage and Usopp's lies are actually glimpses of the future all along? Basically, Usopp doesn't just make things up, but he is using balls deep prediction without knowing over and over again, where his wild claims later in the story manifest in reality. For example, the island-sized goldfish he would tell Kaya, or his 8,000 followers he claimed in chapter 72, which became real in Dressrosa. Usopp has had latent prophetic abilities since childhood, likely an unconscious his form of observation haki so advanced that he saw fragments of the future before he even understood what he was seeing. Instead of interpreting them as visions, he told them as stories. He has been doing all of this unknowingly. If all of his lies keep coming true, by the end of the story, Usopp will become a god tier observation demon from the underworld. That is also why he is already stronger than people give him credit for. Because strength in One Piece is not just about punching hard, but also about will. And Usopp's will has always been monstrous. Like, this moment of him standing up against Imu like this shows Conqueror's tier will. This is the man who stood up to Luffy over the Mary and almost won. The man who beat Perona specifically because his spirit functioned on a wavelength that her power could not dominate. Usopp has turned his fear into motion time and time again. That is what being brave means. This moment of Usopp standing up and being brave is witnessed by Ragnar, Loki, and the Giants. This battle against Imu is not over yet, as I mentioned earlier. Usopp will stand back up and wield Ragnar itself against the threats to Elbaf. You know his fake 5-ton hammer he used against Mr. 4 in Alabasta? Well, now he will carry the heaviest hammer in the world. Oda has already hinted at this possibility in chapter 1081, long before Ragnar or Ratatskor were even a thing in the story, as there we see a color spread where Usopp is sleeping next to squirrels. It's possible that Loki will be down for the count or even get Domi reversied, leaving Ratatskor alone. And Usopp claims this arc as his by using Ragnar to smash into Imu. And by using the giant seeds found in Elbaf, Usopp is due for a massive upgrade like Frankie with his Super Cola. But for now, we have Nidhogg and Nika coming face to face against Imu, the devil of the abyss. Now, you would think that facing off against the two biggest threats to Imu would scare bro a little, right? Nope, instead he channels my goat, Monkey That Beat Dragon's signature 3 dots and just says, Nika, Nidhogg, submit or perish. If Dragon was here, bro, Imu would be shitting his pants. Like, he had to leave Marie Joie to show up in Elbaf to fight weaker opponents. That's how I'm reading this, okay?
Shut your lame ass up.
Either way, this battle shall divide the world. No way this bum is confident in defeating both Luffy and Loki together, right? Like, no way he's thinking that, especially like his real form isn't even here. He doesn't even have home ground advantage. Like, what is Imu thinking? He must have something under his sleeves, something that will flip the board in his favor. Because, you know, throughout this chapter, other than Chopper's hit, we didn't actually see the giants killed by Zoro, Dory, Broggy, all of them being turned back to normal. They just kind of killed them. We didn't see them regen back or even turn back to normal. And with killing them, not scared one bit. I'm kind of scared for the Straw Hats. Things are going a little too well right now. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, watch the video on screen about Usopp and all of his lies. That was a banger video foreshadowing what might happen in Elbaf. I'll see you guys next week. There's no break next week. Let's go.